welcome to another episode of our show, Last Days in Uni, a space where we let financial students speak their mind on what truly matters to them. And today's episode is going to be a great one, especially if you are in your lower level. I would advise you to stick to the end of this and never miss any second of this episode. I am Abdulhamid Alabi Adeyema, an exceptional masterpiece of Alcoholic, the best of creators. Stay with us as we move into this section properly. Thank you. Our amazing finalist on this episode of Last Days in Uni is like a raw gold. It doesn't shine like refined jewelry that if you are not observant, you will mistake this raw gold for mere metal. He is the topper of his department who has managed to remain unnoticed and invisible to many of his colleagues, except a few. Our guest is an intellectually and academically sound student from the Department of Animal Production and Health, APH. I have with me on this episode, TRUST Bankole. TRUST, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Let's start from you. Until recently, and even till now, not so many people in our departments notice you or know you as maybe the academically sound students. Until recently, and even what probably bring you more to the limelight that lets a lot of people get to know you is the Asan Award. That's yes in 400 level. And so I want to ask that you don't really ask questions in class. You don't really answer questions in class. Is that intentional?
It's not intentional.
Okay.
Actually, I'm kind of a reserved person though, so I don't really talk much. So it's not like I don't want to answer questions. Sometimes I don't know the questions as well, to be honest. So I'd rather not say the wrong answer than raising up my hand to say what is not right.
Okay. And not answering that question or even asking question, I think it gives you that edge of people not noticing you. But for someone like, let me just say someone like me who answer question in class, but people will believe maybe I am this, I have this high grade and I do not. For someone like you who don't ask question, a lot of people don't get to know you until recently. Okay. Our 300 level is probably the most difficult, the worst, and the toughest for people in terms of the results. And while we complain about CGPA in that 300 level, you add, or let me say, they say you add 5.0 in 300 level. Is that true? And how were you able to manage to get to do that?
Yeah, it is true for the first semester of 300 level. Yeah.
That one too is still something.
Is that
5.0? Why a lot of us were lamenting. So how did you manage to get that point?
Well, actually, God's helped. It's not by my effort only. Something I just happened to pay attention to was the fact that all scored matters. So from the tests, I prepared like I was writing exams. So I tried to cover up as much as possible like I was preparing for exams. Because even just 1 mark actually matters. 1 mark can stop you from having a 70. Exactly. You can have a 69. And without that 1 mark, there's no 70.
Exactly.
So I prepared very well. Although that semester was a very hectic one. Because apart from the fact that it was very tough for each and every one of us, I actually lost my mom that semester.
Oh, I'm sorry for
that. And it was very close to the exam period. In fact, it was during test. It was a test. I finished from a test and then came outside and then I heard the news. So actually, God helps because it was not me throughout the semester that actually did that. God just answered my prayers and then blessed the little effort I was able to put in.
Despite that heavy loss, you were still able to manage to add a 5.0. If something of such happened to some other people, let me say myself as an example now. there is no doubt I'm going to get destabilized. How are you able to manage to put yourself back on your feet and do your exam properly without getting distracted? Because that is a very huge stress on you emotionally, psychologically, mentally, and even physically, and it may even affect your finance. So how were you able to gain your feet to still be able to prepare for your exam and the rest of the test?
And I'll still say it's good because it was not easy, to be honest. And then uh, the emotional pain was there. It was even more severe because most likely, most times, she was the one I actually turned to when I was down in school. Then I needed to air out my emotions and then talk to her about how things were going in school. But then she was not there. And so I was reading this particular day. It was FS 309, FIS 309, right?
FIS.
FIS 309. So I was reading this particular day, and then I got to a particular topic, and I was stuck. I was down. I wanted to talk to her, so I picked up my phone to dial her number, but then I remembered she was not there. So I just went home crying inside, although it was obvious, but I just went and then just got home and relaxed. But then I remember the words she always actually said before she died, some months before she died. She called and told me that she understands that situations are bound to change. That change is constant. And so we likely experience changes in our environment or whatever activities we are doing. But then, despite whatever changes we experience, we should not, or I should not, stop doing my best. So our best in each circumstances or each situations might differ. Yes. But just remember to do your best in whatever situation you find yourself. So I just tried to do my best despite the fact that I was emotionally down and actually got helped.
Thank God. That is seriously a whole lot. And I want to commend you for your resilience over that. And God will replenish you. I may find it difficult to believe a course would be hard for you or tough for you, but then I will still ask. Personally, what course will you say was the hardest for you from 100 level up to this moment?
From 100 level up to this moment, well, there have been a couple of courses that seemed tough for me. From 100 level, I think physics, PHS 105. I don't really like physics. I had a poor starting in physics. So I did not really like it. So it was tough for me to actually prepare for the exams and then pass. That was a tough one. In 200 level, well, okay. Yeah, STS was also
Okay.
another factor. STS actually 201 was also a tough one too because we had to prepare for the ANOVA and the other aspect of the lecture notes. So STS was a problem, as well as GNS 102. I think that was talking about
history.
History. I do not like history. History
Yes,
relating to
like
government. So I do not like history. So it was also a tough one for me during those periods. And then 300 level, second semester, exactly. A PhD 1-2 was a very big one, a thorn in the
that
flesh.
was the meat preservation, all this Escherichia coli.
Was it that? No. It was the one dealing with ruminants. The one 312. The one dealing with ruminant animal.
Okay, the one at Mahmoud.
Yeah.
Where do we do that? Mahmoud. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The one,
I remember. Okay, it's a general course. It was a general course.
Yeah. The one dealing with breeds of cattle.
Okay. And the marketing.
So yeah.
Okay. Of course, 400 level.
400 level FPY. No,
generally.
There was no problem generally.
Okay. So by extension, sorry, you want to mention?
Okay, 500 level. 500 level. Well, 500 level just seems different because actually all the courses seemed tough.
When Trust can say this, who am I?
Actually all the courses seem tough. I don't know, because probably it's because we're now fully introduced to the writing exams fully, because as a 300 level we're still doing a mixture of few writings and then more CBT. So probably it's as a result of more exposure to most writings. Like we had to write all the courses, so it seemed very difficult. Like virtually all the courses, to be honest.
Okay. I'm still coming back to the written and CBT exam, but let's continue with this one. By extension of those difficult courses, which of the courses have you ever had the lowest results? Or what is your lowest? I'm not talking about CGPA now. I mean
Okay,
a
this
grade
score. Okay.
What is your lowest?
The lowest score I had is a 50, although it was in a practical.
Okay.
A 50 in a
And that's in
practical.
a C.
As a C.
So you've never had a D. Now your CGPA. What was your lowest CGPA? Or GPA rather? Let me put it like that. GPA from 100 level up to this now. GPA.
The lowest GPA I had or I've had is a 4.3.
And that was in where?
That was 100 level first semester.
100 level first semester, 4.3, and that was in the West. So you see, a lot of work is there for you to do, or for us to do. Okay, that's nice. So now, talking about the exam, the written exams and the CBT exam, of course, we've done the two, we've tested the two. Which one do you think would be the easiest for people or for students to pass?
Okay. To be honest, I would say both of them actually has a way of like going about them. But I would prefer the CBT. I feel the CBT you can always you don't have to always read to understand completely what is in the lecture notes. You can always make sure that you go over the lecture notes as much as possible and then remember the points that are in the notes. Now, CBT gives you that option that when you see what you've read, obviously you'll be able to remember to an extent. So I feel CBT is still easier to pass than a written exam because you have more options. In a written exam, if you don't know it, you don't know it. But in a CBT exam, if you don't know it, you still have the probability of picking the right answer from the options.
But you know, for that CBT again, we still have two types.
Yeah.
The normal, the optional one, and the German one.
Okay.
Where you still have to type in the answer.
The multiple choice question would still seem to be the easiest because you have choice of options to pick from. And then if you've gone through the lecture, like I mentioned earlier, you'll be able to, at least to an extent, know which one is wrong and they'll be able to pick the ones that are right.
Okay. What are the things you believe people assume about you or they have even said about you because you are academically excellent? People assume best student or academically excellent students get it easy. So what are the things you think people just believe about you generally that are not true, or they have even assumed or said about you?
Well, I've not really had much of an assumption from people though. Well, I think I've had people feel like, somebody walked up to me, I think was it in 311, and then was asking me, how am I so intelligent? I told her that it is not that I'm intelligent actually. It's just the fact that I've not even always been this way, and I didn't even plan to actually be the best student. To be honest, I just came to school and decided to put in my effort to do my best and see what I would have.
And the best actually turned out to be the best.
So God has been God actually. So I just do what I could do or what I can do and then leave the rest in his hands. And regarding the specification you made about having it easy, it's not easy for anybody, to be honest. Everybody has to go through lecture notes for hours. I do that too. For hours. In fact, I'm not the kind of person that just retain information very easily. So I have to go over the lecture notes over and over again to actually know that. To actually find it's okay to be sure that yes, I've actually done justice to the lecture.
So you don't read like a day to the exam. You start reading like days or week to the exam.
Yes, I start reading as early as possible because I know I'm not the kind of person that just assimilates very fast. So I try to read as early as possible. Sometimes I begin probably the third week of the lecture when lecturer started dropping the lecture notes and then teaching in class.
So you want to have first class, but you are waiting for the day before the exam well, you continue to have your C and go ahead. You know, there are times that one's friends will kind of feel inferior because of one's growth or once change in position. So I want to ask that have you ever lost friends or people moving away from you because you being an excellent student? Has it ever happened?
No, I'm not sure that has ever happened. Most of my friends, right from 100 level, are still my friends till today.
Okay.
Although I've made more, but they are still, we're still in contact, right from 100 level down to today.
Okay. So looking back now, what are some of the things that you say you regret that you could have done? Of course, you are on a very good CGPA, a very, very good one. But maybe there are still some things you think, oh, you could have done better that will have even pumped that result better than it is now. Are there any things like that?
I would say procrastination is one thing. Every of us are trying to fight that. Procrastination is one of the things we face because yeah, I might decide that okay, I'll do this today, and then with time I just feel tired and okay, I can still do it tomorrow. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow then. So procrastination is one factor that I regret like partaking in. Sometimes I want to read a lecture notes, but then I feel like okay, I can still have time. Okay, I can do it tomorrow. And another factor I actually regret is during the 100 level days is the fact of overworking myself. Mm. During the 100 level days because I could not. I'm the kind of person that once I change environments, I find it difficult to sleep. So during those times, I slept less and I was trying to read more. But then most of the exams I went to, then I went with serious headaches. So I could not perform or could not have done as excellently well as I would have done if I was not having headaches.
Okay.
So most of the exams then I went with headaches, and in 20 level I realized that it's not only about having to study all nights, and then it's also important to actually rest. So as much as one wants to read or prepare for the exams well, we want to also rest. I regret that during my level days that I rested very minimal and I had issues with a lot of courses during the exam period.
So I know you've been saying God did, God did. Of course, God is behind everything. But now I want us to really dissect into this aspect very well. And I want you to walk us through your study tips. This is basically for people in lower level, or even if people who are seeing their final will get to see this and maybe use it to prepare for their final exams. So what are the things that you do when you study or when you want to study that improve your assimilation, or yes, let me say your level of assimilation, or the length that you even get to study? There are people that if they start reading and in the next few minutes they are gone on the solo, they are sleeping already. So what are the practical steps that you take as someone who read for a very long hour? What are the practical steps that you take to avoid sleeping when reading? And what are your study tips that make you assimilate, understand, and able to write very well in exam? I want us to be practical with this.
Okay. Well, everybody is different, and then
Definitely.
what works for me might not work for somebody else.
Sure.
My study tips. Well, I do not really have like some people who do have. They have a studying timetable or thereabout.
Okay.
I do not go or have a personal timetable. Rather, I work with the school timetable. So, for example, this semester I would be having 3 courses on Tuesday, 3 courses on Monday and on Tuesday, likewise. So, I work with the school timetable and try to cover up the lecture notes after each class. That's how I try to cover the lecture, like what was taught in the class that day. I try to cover it when I get home that day. So I don't read for long hours as well as like you think I do. I do not.
Okay.
I can't read for hours.
Okay.
That I read for just few minutes or if for up to an hour, take a break, then get back to it consistently like that. So so
I will help you ask him.
so I just read as it comes actually. It's not like I just have a special way of reading. I just read as it comes. Let me put it that way. If it's the course for the particular day, like for the Monday we're having the APH 502. So once I get home, since that what we'll be doing first. Once I get home that day, I try to go over the 502 that we've done in class again. Then proceed with other ones we did during the day. But then over time, after going for the lectures, other lectures, I try to go back to the first one, check through if I still remember those things, and then further like that. So over time, the first one sticks, and then subsequent ones follows like that until the last one. But that was not the case for first semester 500 level. It was different because we had to prepare for project and thereabouts. So that semester was very tough. Like I said earlier, it has been very tough for me. So it's not like there's a special reading pattern. I would say everybody's different. So if you know that reading for long hours is not what works best for you, then why not try reading for shorter sections? Break them into sections, read. Once you are tired or feel like you're not assimilating well, take a break, come back to it, and then read again. That's how I go about my own. But if there's some people that actually can read for long hours, it's okay if you can read for long hours and assimilate. But just know what works best for you. But as much as you want to read, also take time to rest. Because if you just read throughout for hours and you do not take rest, the brain actually needs that rest to actually assimilate and remember what you've read. So it should just be like reading and not assimilating. But then you are there, reading and reading again, and you have spent long hours. No, I suggest that enough rest also should be taken as well as reading. And starting early is also another edge over assimilating.
So basically, the style of reading we do is more of like a repetitive reading.
Yeah.
So because when you go through it again, the following week you go through it again and keep like that, at least it sticks better like that. And during exam period or when exam is closer, you don't have to put in as much effort, right?
I do still put in much effort because I'm the kind of person that I feel like I've not always done enough. Even during the exam period, I still read like I've not read from the beginning. So I still go over the notes from the beginning, and if possible, complete the lecture notes if I'm able to. But if not, anywhere I get to, I go for the exams.
And I think I could really understand the aspect you said that even if you have done the best, you feel like you've not done the best. I remember the exam we had in first semester 500 level, APH 500 something, the organic livestock agriculture. That exam was a tough one for me personally. So I left the exam on very, very late, maybe 10 minutes to the submission time. And when I was going out, when I went to submit, I see you were seeing that writing as well as mid-Z. I was now looking at why when these two people are still in the exam, what am I doing? Let me see that, Jerry. So I sat down again. Now go over through my something again. Maybe I will see something again, and then so I think I can relate to that. To get more acts just now, that probably yes, of course, maybe you've been together before and your alarm had disturbed him before. So he asked, how many alarm do you have on your phone?
I try to set as much alarm as possible. I'll be honest with that. I try to set as much as alarm as possible from my 100 level days down to my 300 level days. But 500 level, my alarm I've reduced it because even throughout last semester, I barely woke up to read during the night. It was just, I set alarm to actually remind me of waking up to read during the night. I can't, well, so I don't know, to be specific. I don't know how many alarms I set.
Like that, but like in that 30 minutes interval.
Okay, on cases where I set at intervals like that, it is on cases where I feel like when I wake up, I do not like, I still feel tired and I still need to sleep a little bit. So sometimes I set alarm at 2 and then probably at 2:30. So if the alarm wakes me by 2 and I feel like I can't get up at that time. So as not to miss the entire night's reading, I set alarm subsequently to 2:33. So if I didn't wake up by that time, by 3 at least, after I've slept an hour extra, I should be up.
I think you answered your question already. So I'm coming to your projects
Okay.
because we want to talk about that. You have a bike. Do you use it to work, or is just for personal use, or do you work with it?
The bike is not actually mine.
Okay.
It is a project bike. Because if you notice from 100 level down to 300 level, even till 400 level, I did not have a bike. It was not until 400 level second semester when we started the project. So the bike is given to us as a project incentive to assist us to get to our project sites easily. Because we work at the IFSERA Muturu breeding unit. So it is just an incentive to us for us to get to the farm easily and then very fast.
That's nice. That's nice. So who is your supervisor?
That is Professor Mrs. Oluwatosin.
So she gave you the bike.
Yes, she gave us.
Okay. Now let's talk about that project now. What is your project about?
Okay, my project is about physiological parameters of Muturu cattle managed on different pastures. So it actually deals with observing the physiology, parameters like heart rate,
Okay.
respiratory rates, rectal temperature, and pulse rate. How it is affected by the kind of pastures they feed on. Now we have the two types of pasture we classified the animals to actually graze on. The natural, that is the one that grow naturally, and then the sown, which was cultivated and happened to be on the farm where we work. So we are trying to see the effects of these pastures, these different type of pastures on the physiology.
Like how many weeks is your project going to take? The practical aspect of the project.
The practical aspect of the project, for my own particular aspect, it's to take 12 weeks.
Okay.
12 weeks. But then since it's not only me that will be working on the projects, other subsequent attachments to the projects for my colleagues, actually the project is not yet, the field work is not yet fully completed because there are some data we still have to collect, and we are yet to collect now. So we are not done with the field work.
Okay. So moving forward, after school, what do you plan to do? Do you plan to work as an animal scientist or work with the certificate, or do you have some other plans in place?
Okay, yes, whatever opportunity comes, I'm open to it. If the opportunity of working continuously as an animal scientist comes, I'm so glad to do that. And if other opportunities comes, like using the certificate as a form of employment, I'm also open to that. But then I would actually be interested in working as an animal scientist because that has always been what has interested me right from when I was young. While others wanted to study medicine, engineering, and so many other things, all I had in mind was to just be a veterinary doctor or study anything agriculture related. So I would love to actually continue in that field of animal science.
Talking about veterinary medicine, did you choose vet medicine from the beginning, or you chose APH?
Okay, yeah, I chose APH right from the beginning. I had a rethink and then decided to go for animal production and health.
Do you have the plan of doing masters?
Masters, yes, I actually want to do masters. Well, it's a two-way thing. Let me not say outrightly yes. It's a two-way thing. I'm interested in masters, but then I would actually appreciate if it were not in this country. Well, if it happens to be in this country, fine. I'm still okay with it. But I'd appreciate it more if I could actually get to do masters away from this country.
You said you are interested in working as an animal scientist that you studied. So do you have some companies in mind that you love to work with, or you have some companies, agricultural companies, or organizations that are into line of agricultural livestock that you've been targeting? Oh, I would love to really work with this company or this so. Are there any companies like that?
I've not really been targeting particular companies. I'm open to working on looking for companies to actually target. But then I think based on the courses we are doing this semester, I think I'm beginning to like the archery aspect of the thing. So I think I'll look towards that aspect. Yeah.
Okay.
And presently, I think I'm interested in the archery and the activities going on in the archery.
So let's assume now that one of the CEOs or MD of a big archery company or even poultry company is watching this right now. So I have a few seconds for you just to pitch yourself or that probably you are interested in working with the company. You can just have like 15 seconds of pitching yourself. Oh, I am blah blah blah.
Right, I'm Bankole Trust Oluwatobiloba, and I'm a very diligent student. As at that, I'm also interested in working in the archery section because I have a skill pertaining to, because I've actually acquired the knowledge regarding fumigations and how archery principles actually work. I like to explore that aspect and actually practice to see how things actually goes in that aspect. In fact, before now, even before coming to the university, I actually was working on a project of installing or building an incubator. Although I was not able to complete the project, but I would actually want to work with a standard incubator at that. So I'll be very interested in working in an archery session.
And trust, Bankole Trust. So let's talk about it. This who in our department, who yes, let me put it that way first. Do you have a crush in our department? Because a lot of our departmental mates are actually interested in knowing this. They want to know. She trust in me, crush in the department you are. Does that guy even have crush? So do you have a crush in our department?
Nah, I do not have a crush in our department at all. I just like take everybody as even every female as a friend actually.
Mention few of your friends in our department, few of your female friends
Female
in our
friends.
department.
Okay, would I say friends? Okay, everybody, would I say friends? Okay, I would say let me put it as colleague because
Don't let us
calm down. I'll tell you. I'll give you the reason why. Because virtually, like most of them,
I get your point.
Most of them actually we started talking
because of the project.
Lately this 500 level. So I would not say they are friends per se. Although there are some we've actually just been greeting, saying hi, and then making jokes in 100 level.
Okay.
The likes of Adebimpe,
okay.
Stephanie. Who else again? Okay, my project mates Ayomide, Dominion,
okay.
Zainab, that's Dolapo.
Okay.
They're like I just talk to a lot of them. Yeah.
So you don't have a crush in our department. That one is cleared now. So what is your love like about? Or how does your love like look? You of course you are in a relationship, right?
No, I'm not.
Is it intentional that you want to avoid it because of academics or for some other reasons? I'm not the one asking this.
Okay, so
I am being sent by our departmental mate that please help us ask Trust this question. And this is what I'm done asking the parts that I want people to really understand. So now,
okay, the relationship aspect. Okay, I'll say this. Actually, when I came in on 11, I had the intention of just focusing on academics for a while, and then by 300 level, I was hoping I would probably get into a relationship. Okay, but then at 300 level, I then decided that I was no longer really interested in relationship aspect of it. So it's not because of the academics actually. There are a lot of people that juggle academics with relationship and they are doing fine. But then I do not just seem to be interested in it presently.
Okay, so let's close it on this note. What are your top advices that you will give to people in lower level, the students in lower level, so that they will be able to also scale their results? Whether for students who are on a low CGPA, for them to scale it, to level it up, or for those who are on a good standing, for them to be able to maintain it. What are your top advices or tips or guides for them?
Okay, let me just say this. I would just say that they should know themselves. You should know yourself. You should know what works best for you, and do not try to work with somebody else's calendar. Like you will say, "Ma wo ago alago shishe." So you should know what works for you, and then how best you can perform. So, and as well, if you are the kind of person that actually requires pressure to read, that's not the best form of reading. But I advise that you start as early as possible. reading as early as possible, even if it's not the first week, even if it's close to the test week before you start reading, but should not be until the night of exam. No matter how good one is good at put assimilating during that time, it's not always as effective as reading before prayer and then having understanding of the topic. As well, I would advise them. God has actually always been the one helping me. It is necessary to put God first. Mm. And when you put God first, actually other things follows. So it is necessary to put God first and then pray as much as possible. Tell God actually what you want. Be specific. Okay, this is this is the effort I've been putting in. I need this. God, please help me. God actually He answers specific prayers. So being specific in our prayers also helps. And one thing I would also say to the 100 level students or those in lower levels is that 100 level is the best year. A lot of myself and some of us in our sets do not actually get that information.
Yeah.
So we did not actually put in that effort in the 100 level. And the point is the foundation actually matters. If you want to actually build an upstairs and then you start with a weak foundation, yeah, you might actually build the upstairs, but it will not stand. So, but for you to actually build a solid house or a solid bungalow, a solid duplex or story buildings and like that, or mansion, the foundation actually matters. 100 level is the foundation. In fact, this is at 100 level you can have a 5.0 because we are just introduced to what we've learned in secondary school. And then it is new, although it's advanced though, or it is something we've actually learned in secondary school. And then although is advanced, we still have that edge that we understand some of those things. And so we can put in that effort to maximize that opportunity to have a very good result. And having that, in subsequent levels, we'll be able to like guide it and then work towards having higher.
Thank you so much for that amazing advice, tips, and guidelines. To finally wrap this up is for you to say words of appreciation, give shout outs to people you really appreciate for their efforts so far from the 100 level up to this moment. Just to give words of appreciation to them, and then we wrap up this session.
Okay, I say thank you so much, Ogbeni Ahmed Alabi, for inviting me to this session today. It's an honor to be here. I also want to give a big shout out to some of my friends. We have some of my friends which include Agemo Oluwaseyi, also known as Get More, Ajani Oluwaferemi, also known as Feromi G. I say this contact as Feromi G, as well as Jude, Adewale Jude. We've also been together from 100 level. The likes of also Morgan, that's
Okay.
Orelua Samuel, as well as Fikayo, that's Kunle Okusi Basit, as well as they're just in love because each semester I just have like new people that I roll with and then talk, and then it has always been. I shout out to everybody in the department as well. Thank you so much for always being there. But because if I was the only one in the lecture hall, it would have not been easy. On days where I did not understand some things, I just had to even ask some friends too. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate everyone in the department. So as APH department, I also thank everyone as
the
well.
Livestockers.
Yeah, the Livestockers.
Okay. Trust, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate you.
Everyone, that has been an amazing session with Trust Bankole Oluwato Global from the Department of Animal Production and Health. Just a few recap. One of the few of the things he has mentioned that you should take notes as you are in your lower level is that do not procrastinate, or try as much as possible to reduce the level of your procrastination. Try to prepare ahead. Don't wait for the night before the exam before you start reading for the exam or for test. As much as you want to read, do take care of yourself. Ensure that you have proper rest, because as he has mentioned, your brain also needs enough rest to be able to deliver, to be able to let you recall what you have read, and some other things that he has mentioned. Thank you so much for watching. This is Last Days in Uni, and I am Abdulhamid Alabi Adeyemo, an exceptional masterpiece of alcoholic, the best of creator. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next episode. Bye.